Hello, thanks for coming to my channel. My name is Chris, and in this video I'm going to talk about the privacy app, what it is, what it does, how to use it, and is it worth that free price tag. Okay, so the purpose of this channel is for me to make videos about apps, products, things that I use that I think might be useful to you. So in this video, we're going to talk about the privacy app. So if you're asking yourself, what is the privacy app? Don't worry, it's the same thing that I asked whenever my brother recommended this to me. And just to break it down, I'll break it down into three things. It's an app and a website. 1. 2, it allows you to create virtual debit cards. And 3, these debit cards can be used for a specific vendor, and you can also add certain types of limits to them, either per transaction, per month, or just total overall. So how does it work? You go to their website and you create an account. Now, in order to create an account, you have to add what's called a funding source. And this can either be your bank account or a debit card. So they do have different pricing tiers. I'm using the free account, and usually whenever I see services like this where it's free to the user and it provides all of these conveniences, you want to be sure you know how the company is making their money, and luckily privacy is really transparent about that. They're making a lot of their money on the transaction fees that are collected whenever a transaction happens. So whenever you set up your account and you assign your funding source, you can start using the app. They have an Android and an iOS app, which is pretty intuitive, and if you're into installing browser extensions, they also offer a Chrome and a Firefox extension. So whenever you're ready to create a card, you have two options. You can either create a single-use card or create a card that's specific to a merchant. So let me talk about single-use cards because it's one of the more straightforward ones. Let's say you're going to buy something online and you don't necessarily want to create an account, and maybe you don't want to use your personal credit card or a personal debit card. What you can do with the privacy app is create this single-use card that you'll be able to use for this particular purpose. After you're done with that transaction, the card will close, meaning that that debit card number that it created will no longer be valid or available for use. So this is great if you're just buying something one time, you don't want to create an account and store your payment information. It's pretty convenient. The second type of card that you can use is a merchant-specific card, and these are the ones that I use mostly. So with these cards, you're able to designate a specific debit card to a particular merchant. So think about your subscription services like Spotify, Netflix, any of your streaming services. Anything where your card's being charged on a recurring basis, you're able to create a debit card for each specific merchant. So personally, I like this because yes, it's probably easier to use the same credit card or the same debit card for all of my transactions. But then if I want to change my payment method or cancel the payment method, I have to go to each individual app or website and do that. On the other hand, if I create merchant cards for each of the services that I'm using, I can go to the privacy app and either cancel the card, which means the number will no longer be eligible to be charged. Or if it's a subscription service, I can set a transaction limit to ensure that I'm not charged more than I'm supposed to. Now, I mostly use the merchant card, and the way I do this is I create a debit card for a particular merchant. In this case, I'll talk about Xbox. I have a Microsoft account, and I'm sure many of y'all do too, and things that I pay them monthly for are things like access to EA access to a lot of the EA sports games and Xbox Live. So what I've done is I created a debit card specifically for Xbox Live and Microsoft, and I've set a transaction limit for $6. So being that Xbox Live is usually around $5, and the EA access that I signed up for was around $1.99 or something, I know that I'm not going to be charged, or I'm not supposed to be charged, more than $6 per month. So if that transaction is more than $6, that transaction is going to be declined because my limit is set at $6. So it's super convenient for subscriptions like that where you have an idea of what it is you're supposed to be charged. You want to be sure that you're not charged more than that. Perfect use case for that. Now, something to note about some merchants. Whenever you're creating a debit card with the privacy app, a lot of merchants treat these as prepaid debit cards. So if you're using it with a merchant or a company that doesn't accept prepaid debit cards, then you might run into an issue here. And personally, I ran into this issue whenever I was trying to do a free trial of Fubo TV, the streaming service. I created a privacy card for this, and whenever I went to confirm my payment method, I got an alert that said Fubo doesn't accept prepaid debit cards. So that's one of the few cases where I haven't been able to use a debit card that I've created through the privacy app. But companies like FedEx, Google, Amazon, PayPal, Green Chef, Netflix, Spotify, all of these companies, you're able to use a debit card created by the privacy app. So why would people want to use a privacy card? And the first thing that comes to mind is for people like myself, where we sign up for all of these free trials that require a credit card and we forget to cancel them. I know I'm not the only one who has signed up for a free trial, enjoyed the 2 weeks, the 1 month, whatever that time period is, and always forgets to cancel the trial before it ends and you get charged for the next month's worth of service. This just happened to me with Fubo, where because I couldn't use the virtual card, I used my credit card, and at the very last day of my free trial, I forgot and I got charged, so that sucked. So, people who are forgetful, you can create a free trial with a lot of these companies, set a transaction limit to your debit card, and that's that. If you forget, your transaction will be declined, and that serves as a notification to you that, okay, gotta cancel this free trial. And you don't have to worry about going through the refund process or just dealing with the guilt that it is forgetting about things you said you wouldn't forget. The second is those one-time purchases that I talked about earlier. Like sometimes you just want to buy something really quick. You don't want to make an account. You don't want to pull out your wallet to get your credit card and your debit card. You're already on your computer. If you have the extension, creating a one-time card is pretty convenient, and it's just that. It's convenient, it's quick, you don't have to worry about it. You know that the account that's your funding source is going to be charged. If you're okay with that, pretty seamless process to buy something on the internet. Lastly, you can also use this to manage all of your subscriptions. So like I said in the beginning, if you have a lot of subscriptions with a ton of different companies, instead of going to all of their individual websites to manage whether or not you want to activate that account, deactivate it, put a pause on it, you can just go to your privacy account, select the card associated with your account, and you can either pause the card, add a transaction limit so that any transactions over that limit get declined, or if you're just done with the service, you can close that virtual card and it will no longer be charged. So that's another great option that's available to you if you use the privacy app. So now that I've told you when it might be useful to use a privacy card, I do want to caveat when it might not be useful. Personally, I wouldn't use a privacy card if I'm making a big purchase. For example, if I'm buying a computer or an iPad or a cell phone or just a large purchase like that, I might want to use my credit card for that. Not just for the protections that I know my credit card offers, but also for some additional warranties that some credit card providers might offer. Secondly, if you have alternative payment options that provide you more rewards or more cash back, then those might be a better payment method than creating a separate debit card for that. If you have a separate payment method or a different credit card that provides more cash back or rewards for certain subscriptions or purchases or things like that, it might be more worth your time and your money to use that instead. So what do I use the privacy app for? So let me show you. So there's some subscriptions that I have, some recurring services that I have where it's easier to use the privacy card. The cash back that I would get on these cards if I were using a separate payment method isn't that much, so I'm just, you know what, I'll just control it all within the app, and that's that. So for example, I have a privacy card for Adobe Creative Suite. I pay $10 for their subscription to Lightroom and Photoshop and things like that. So I have a privacy card that has a spend limit of $11 per month. That way the monthly service fee plus taxes, that's never supposed to exceed $11. So I'm fine with that. If it ever goes over $11, transaction will be declined, and then that'll be my notice to go in and check out what's going on with my Adobe account. My gym, I'm able to create a debit card specifically for my gym to where I'm in control of the transaction limit and when they can charge my card. PayPal, Google, I have a few services that are billed through Google, like Google Cloud Storage. Sometimes I might rent or buy a movie on Google Play. So being able to set those limits and just get that all billed within the privacy app is really cool. And that's really it. I have a lot of other cards that I have set up that I've created for free trials. You can close them at any time. I just like to keep them open in the event that I want to do another free trial in the future. So that's how I use it. So let's summarize the pros and cons. On the pros, convenience, you can access this through the iOS app, the Android app, or a website. It's flexible. You can create one-time cards or multiple cards for different merchants. It puts you in control of your finances, so you can set the limits, you can pause the accounts. Makes you feel more confident about purchases and knowing that you're going to be charged no more than what you're expecting to be. So are there any alternatives to the privacy app? The ones that I've seen include Blur, which is a different privacy-oriented company that allows you to do similar things to the privacy app. I haven't been able to try them out, so I can't give you a lot of information on that, but it's one of the ones that's come up occasionally through my research. And second, a lot of credit card providers and banks offer their own virtual card solutions. For example, I have the Citi Costco card that offers virtual credit card numbers, but in order to make it work, I have to download this software application, and it's only available for Windows. So it's already kind of clunky. I have to have a Windows, I have to download something to my computer. It's not really as flexible as the privacy app. So just some final notes on the privacy app. One of the things I've seen people ask on the internet is about refunds. So I have had a charge that I needed refunded, and the process was pretty straightforward. I didn't have to contact privacy or anything. It was directly between me and the merchant that I was trying to get a refund from. To them, my payment method was no different than me using a credit card, so they processed the refund, and the privacy app was able to refund me my money. So no issues with that. Second, a lot of people are hesitant about using their bank account or their debit cards, and I definitely understand that. But I see this really no different as using something like Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. All of these applications require you to add either a debit card or a bank account in order for you to use the service. And just given all of the reading and research that I did on the privacy apps, privacy policies and things like that, it made me pretty confident that my debit card number is secure with privacy. If that's something that you want to look into, I'll leave links down below to their privacy policies and how they handle your information so that you can take a look at that. And if at the end of the day you feel comfortable providing your debit card, then I definitely think this is a service that will be useful to you. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. If you liked this video and you thought it was helpful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to tag along for more videos, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so that you get notified, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.